Hey, it was only the last episode where Jack Gaisford told me that my background was awful. I've decided to come into the office today. Look at this. I've got a bit of digital beans, a bit of the staircase. I've got a water bottle here. I think it's better than a dressing gown on the door and what my background usually looks like at home. But hey, guys, welcome along to another episode of Let's Do Lunch. Today, really excited to be joined again by two great guests. And later on, we're going to have one of our account managers, Roxana, back on the show talking about how you can get instant feedback from your audience. That is going to be today's 90-second tip, something really important to understand when you've got ads out there or you're changing something within your strategy. So Roxana will be on talking a little bit more about that later on. First things first, let's introduce the guests that are on the show. If you want to get in touch at any point, at Digital Beans UK on Twitter, or if you subscribe to the channel, which you should definitely do right now, you can get involved in the YouTube comments. So welcome along if you're watching for the first time, and make sure you hit that subscribe button. On the show today, I'm joined by Munya, who works alongside the education people and KCC as well. Munya has also been pioneering the campaign Give an Hour, where basically they're inviting professionals to give an hour and make a difference to the future career choices that a young person makes. We're going to talk a bit more about that in a minute. But first of all, Munya, thank you for coming on. How are you doing? I'm very well indeed. Thank you very much, Ben, for inviting me. No problem at all. And although I was trying to big up my background, yours is definitely better. Look at all the branding. Well, I had to put a bit of effort thinking I was coming over here. So yeah, this is for you, just for you. Love it, love it. And talking about backgrounds, we'll get on to Emily's in a minute. We can see a bit of a plant. Maybe I need to bring this in here like this as I introduce Emily. Emily is an events manager for Revolution Events, covering some of Kent's biggest exhibition shows like Business Vision Live and the Kent Construction Expo. Emily, we're going to be chatting about the future of exhibits in a minute. We had the exhibition guy on the last episode, but weird time for you. How are you doing? How's everything going?
Yeah, hi. Well, yeah, firstly, thanks for having me. Good to be here again. It is a very weird time for everyone, but the events industry in particular, I think, has really, massively been affected. So we are just trying to adapt. Yeah.
And that's all you can do. And I think a lot of businesses are also looking at ways that they can adapt and looking at ways that they can change up what they do to sort of make a difference and to sort of, be able to resume some business as normal. Talking about industries that have slightly been hit hard, Munya, I want to come over to you and just chat slightly before we go over and talk about exhibits, about the education sector and about education and young people. I take it with the work you do, you're seeing firsthand the effect this pandemic has had on young people and the effect it's had on educational establishments as well.
Yeah, that's true indeed. We've all become teachers. We've got two young children, one at secondary, one at primary. I've never wanted to become a teacher before, but we've had to learn in the depth quite quickly as parents. So there is that, but across the country, just over 100 days of young people learning at home, trying to catch up on the academic stuff, let alone just thinking about careers or meeting friends. That's really been a struggle for many young people worldwide, actually. So the work we do, we think when we'll talk a little bit more about careers, but skills and careers and the skills that young people are missing out on perhaps at the moment or could be doing. And the things that employers might require in the future would be slightly different from before the pandemic. So that impact is huge on young people. But just the grades. But young people will go down on grades. They will regress on grades as well. So that will have an impact as well.
I mean, you mentioned there, so, obviously the big thing when, the whole pandemic kicked off and the schools had to close effectively, apart for obviously key workers. The big talk was obviously around grades. It was on about career progression. It was on those at university who had to finish dissertations. They had to do a number of things to complete their courses, and the same in college. I've got a nephew in that position now where he's having to work virtually to complete and get his diploma. I suppose what you mentioned there is getting lost, isn't it? It's not just about the grades. It's about certain skill sets that young people are either being pushed back on or don't have access to be able to learn how to do them. Like even simple things like, I used to have different classes. I completely forgot what the classes are called now. It's gone over my head. Well, I'd learn to cook. I'd learn to clean shoes. Like I'd learn to, home skills. Students are missing out on that as well at the moment.
they are missing out on just the social interaction with their peers.
Yeah.
And that's incredibly important for young people, and we know that. So just an example, we know young people have been having interviews, virtual interviews or telephone interviews with universities or colleges or even jobs, but have struggled to have telephone interviews altogether. So they have been losing those skills of meeting young people, just playing, catch on the playground with others. So it's not, the grades are obviously really, really important, but the social interaction, even more so. But on the other hand, many young people and parents and people like myself are learning new things. Just coming on programs like this virtually is not something I would have thought about several months ago, ever before. But we now have Zoom or Microsoft Teams lessons, live lessons, without meeting young people face to face. That on its own is a great skill for people to know. You have to remember what is behind you. You have to remember what you are dressed up in as well. So those are some skills.
We forget about IT skills as well. Like, we live in a massively digital world on how to use these programs and the way about doing things. Emily, actually, I'll come over to you here, because obviously we can dive in deeper about the exhibition world in a minute and where that goes. But obviously there's a number of companies out there who have gone to virtual exhibitions, and networking events have gone virtual. So I suppose even businesses like yourselves, business leaders, people in your position as an events manager, you're also looking at these different IT solutions and how you can sort of go about using them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been included I've done some networking virtually, via Zoom. And it's great. I've been so impressed with how people have so quickly just adapted to the situation that we find ourselves in. However, I do stand by, as a sort of company, that face-to-face is best. So I think for now, it's fantastic that we're able to do online meeting and networking. But I still think that face-to-face in person is probably the most profitable way, I think, of networking and communicating with people. But yeah, it's a huge struggle for everyone right now. So I think it's just really impressive that we're just sort of not letting it get us down and just cracking on and trying to be sort of as business as usual that we can be.
I mean, there's a great backstory here, Emily, because we first started working together for the Kent Construction Expo last October.
Yeah.
Then we started talking about what we could do between Digital Beans and Revolution Events to potentially be a digital partnership to obviously expand the keynote speeches that we'd potentially deliver, expand what we actually do at the show, and how we can push better digital content, obviously, for Revolution with paid campaigns and organic campaigns as well. So I think we agreed a deal for Business Vision Live, being completely transparent, before Christmas. This all started obviously in Wuhan, in China. I was telling myself that it would never get this bad over here. I think we all were. And then all of a sudden, I go away for paternity leave. We start working on stuff thoroughly, and the pandemic hits us. And it hits you guys, and it hits Business Vision Live. Talk us through a little bit about, as an events manager, how this has affected what you do, and how you had to adapt and make that call for Business Vision Live earlier on in the year.
Well, my day-to-day role is probably 80% office-based. So being able to work from home hasn't actually been too bad of a transition. So my day-to-day sales work, is mainly by email or phone call. So that bit hasn't been affected too badly. Obviously, the live events themselves have hugely been affected, because it's probably, well, it definitely is the last thing you want to do, isn't it, at the moment, is gather in a room full of other people in a sort of close proximity, shaking hands, swapping business cards. So the decision behind postponing, so Business Vision Live was supposed to be in May earlier this year. Obviously, if you think back to May now, that was when it was all, we were on lockdown then. Events, it just wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to be safe for us, for the exhibitors, for the delegates, for anyone. So yeah, the decision was made to postpone the event until next year. So it'll be the 12th of May next year. And it just gives us all this time to work on making next year's event like bigger and better, get a really good speaking program together, get all the exhibitors in, and reassured that, well, let's all hope by then it's a lot safer, and we're sort of out of these lockdown measures and social distancing. So yeah, the main reason was obviously everyone's health and safety was the main thing. And I don't actually think we were allowed to do events anyway. I think by then the government had sort of announced like no mass gatherings and stuff. So legally it wasn't possible anyway.
Yeah, and you hit on there, obviously, an exhibition event, just like a networking event, is a bit of a mass gathering, isn't it? So I suppose moving on from the lessons you learned from the fact that you couldn't put on Business Vision Live and looking forward, I mean, kudos to you. Like, we've had conversations behind the scene at Revolution events. You guys are being really aggressive in some ways in saying that, hey, we're putting on Kent Construction Expo in October, and hey, we're going to make it as safe for you as possible, and I love that. I think like that's a real steer of arrogance, which is brilliant, because people need to feel safe, and you're being transparent with what you're going to do and what you're going to put in place. So could you talk to us a little bit about that? What for me and Munya potentially, who are sort of sat here now looking at the world going, oh, mass exhibits right now, how are they safe? How might they be safe by October? What are you doing to make them safe?
Excuse me. Sure. Well, so the construction event is on the 1st of October, which is still 3 months away. So if you think about how much has changed from 3 months ago, you know, a lot has happened in between. So we're really hoping that between now and the 1st, there'll be even more positive changes for us. But yeah, we're in plans at the moment to make the event as COVID secure as possible. So whether that means taking out some exhibition stands to make more room in the aisleways for people to walk around, perhaps a one-way system. I mean, these are all sort of ideas at the moment. We're literally planning them like now and next week. But although, you know, catching up with the marketing team, people are still looking to come along. I think we're higher in registrations than we were this time last year. The bookings are still coming in. So I think the construction industry specifically is really looking to get, I mean, I say get back to business. The construction industry never really stopped when the rest of us did. So they've been sort of cracking on and still doing their work. I know that obviously Boris Johnson is really behind the construction industry going for it. So yeah, we're looking at other things, you know, like contactless registration. Our shell scheme providers, they do a special shell scheme. Try and say that 5 times faster, that will have like transparent screens and stuff. So it's, yeah, the main concern, as always, is everyone's health and safety. But we still know that there's people there who do still want to meet with other businesses, network, and you know, you've got to start getting that ROI back, because it's businesses all over have been hit and affected differently. But we hope that by October, there'll be some form of normality back, and we're really hoping, well, we know that it will be a great event, so we're just looking forward to seeing everyone there.
I think it's really, really interesting, that point you just made, actually, that you're up on, is it up on registrations for people to attend or up on exhibitors? Which one was it? Oh, is it both?
So people registering to attend, that so people registering to attend, so the visitors, that number is higher. So a lot of people are clicking to come to the event for free as a visitor. But saying that, people booking exhibition stands, they're still coming in. People are still asking for the floor plan, still reserving stands. So yeah, I mean, for us, it hasn't necessarily slowed down. We're just having to adjust perhaps the way that the floor plan looks and the way the event is run on the day, to keep in line with social distancing measures, and yeah, just keeping everyone safe.
That's incredible. That's really interesting. I suppose, Munya, Emily was spot on there in terms of saying that how quickly things are changing, without jumping in too much about the pandemic. But like, you know, with this event that's coming up, it's happening in October. They're looking to get schools back by September. We would have learned a lot by then, wouldn't we, in terms of how events like this can run and sort of how people and children and professionals can sort of congregate together.
Yes, and there are some details published this morning, actually, that I haven't had a look at as yet, on how schools might begin to open, but not just open, allowing their own students and members of staff back in, but looking at in the autumn term, how external providers, stakeholders can come into the school, which is really important, because particularly in terms of careers and the work that we do, is we want you know, role models like yourselves, Ben and Emily and many others, to come in and speak to students and share their career journeys. But we want to make sure that that's done securely. So I'm sure schools will be learning as well from events like the Construction Expo. So anything you can share and that learning would be incredibly helpful as well.
Yeah, and you spoke about it a bit then, going in and sharing your story and going in as a professional to give us some time to help younger people learn in the real world, really. tell us a little bit about Give an Hour. Tell us a little bit about what it is and what you're looking to achieve with it.
Yeah, sure. I was just listening to some of the phrases that have just come out in the last few months, like furlough. That's a term I didn't even know. I had to Google it, like others. There's a video about that, isn't it, from Mark Gateswood. COVID secure that Emily used there. Those are phrases we never thought we would ever hear. But Give an Hour, we were at Business Vision Live last year. I don't know, Emily, whether you were there, you saw us at all. 2019, we had a stand, a massive stand, trying to find people from business to inspire young people. So the Careers and Enterprise Company is national, funded by the Department for Education. I am one of 300 colleagues nationally who do this sort of work. So Give an Hour is a campaign we began about 2 years ago to get anybody out there to go into a school environment. Well, you can't right now, but there are opportunities to do that virtually, and share your career journey, career stories with young people, so they become a bit more aware what the world of work is. It may well be that you go to your old school. So for many people, they might go back to their old school if the building still exists, or it might have changed a little bit. That's neither here nor there. But just going back into your own school and saying to the students, this is what happened to me since I have left. Doesn't matter how long ago that would have been. It might have been a couple of years, it might have been months ago, it might have been years ago. But just going back into a school environment and sharing your career stories with young people is what inspires young people. We call it a meaningful encounter for a young person, and the government actually says a young person should have one meaningful encounter for each year of secondary school. So this is really incredible. But in addition to just sharing the stories and talking, we love projects, particularly if they are aligned to curriculum areas. So Emily, using your expertise with revolutions is not project planning. That might be aligned with business studies, perhaps, or it might be sales. Again, that might be aligned with other areas of the curriculum, including English or math, when you are doing some quick mathematics and floor plans and things like that. So there's plenty that people can do, so that young people begin to understand that I'm not just doing algebra because I like it or I don't like it, but it's actually relevant somewhere. I'm not sure where it's relevant in the world of work, but I'm sure many engineers out there will know that. So we are generally looking for people to give that time and inspire young people, virtually or face to face.
Yeah, by the way, I think it's going to be so important from September for schools and educational establishments to think outside the box with teaching students and teaching people, because I think I'm finding it difficult, even me as someone who loves working and loves doing what I do. Sometimes I sit there at home and I think about coming back to the office. Like, getting that motivation is going to be difficult, whether we like it or not. We've all been in completely different headspaces over the past 17 weeks. I think for children, Munya, and for young people, it's important that they get that inspiration so early on in the academic year next year to really push them to learn fast, because I think a lot's going to be expected, especially of the year 6s, the year 5s, and the year 11s and the year 10s to really push forward to start achieving. Because obviously, with the years the years that we've just had, obviously that sort of hit a back burner, so to speak.
Yes. Careers is become, I think careers has become really phenomenally incredibly important for generations to come. I mean, not that it wasn't important before, it was always important, but because of all the things that you were talking about then referring to, and many of these things, is academic stuff is absolutely important, but it's also those other soft, there's nothing soft about them, but it's those are the skills that people need to understand and learn. And for younger people, they might not necessarily see why they have to learn some of these things at the moment, but it really has to be embedded. In that journey needs to start much early on. We certainly encourage schools and work with schools to begin that journey in year 7, even year 6, when they're doing preparation for students coming in from primary school, is looking at what is the skill, and how do I use these skills in the wider world of work, not necessarily for a specific job title, but it's about transferable skills as well. So for years and years to come, we will see careers and skills, and these conversations becoming really significant. And if you're looking for a job, for an apprenticeship, what is it that's going to make you different? So young people need to understand it and start to learn those sort of skills to be different when they're applying for jobs. It's not good enough to just say there was COVID, so I didn't do anything. I'm sure there's plenty that people could be doing right now. So yeah, absolutely right, Ben.
Yeah, what I do now, by the way, and sort of where my career's taken me was actually born from, it's going to sound weird, this, born from my bedroom, not from being in school, because where I've learned a lot of my skills was I used to play a lot of video games when I was younger, and one of the video games had fan sites and had like sites attached to them, and I used to work on the websites. I used to work on the radio side of things and creating content for those fan sites, and that's sort of where my journey's doing now started, not at school. Obviously some of the qualifications when it came to English and writing and bits and pieces like that, obviously it all help, but you know, in terms of where I've actually learned my skill set, a lot of it has been at home. And like you say, you know, this time now could have really benefited some students, but just have that bit of inspiration to see where you can go, and someone talking to you about that journey, I think makes a world of difference. Emily, I mean, on that and sort of getting inspiration and sort of getting businesses excited right now, I suppose, especially small business owners or construction businesses who would maybe usually look at the Kent Construction Expo as part of their long-term strategy. I asked the exhibition guy this question on Tuesday's show. Do you think businesses should be, for the next, say, to speak, 6 to 12 months, factoring into their strategy exhibition events? Do you feel that there's still a massive need to be thinking longer term about going out and exhibiting, even though the current, and I mean circumstances right now?
I mean, obviously I'm going to say yes.
not biased at
with
all.
What I do. No, no, I think it's definitely a case-by-case basis. I think I know of some companies who have said absolutely no to any face-to-face events for the rest of this year, just no. And I completely respect that decision, you know, especially if some of their staff members are high risk or even not high risk, and they just don't want to put themselves at risk potentially. But I do think my personal opinion is that I think we need to start, hopefully, you know, we're sort of on the way out of this situation. I mean, we still don't know yet what the government has still to say about events, about if there's potentially a second wave, which obviously we're really hoping there isn't. But I think to try and be optimistic about the situation and think, right, well, you know, people are going to start coming out of lockdown. They're going to be returning to work a bit more. A lot of companies are, you know, losing money and not being able to pay bills, pay wages, etc. So you do need to get that money in somehow. And it's well known that networking is a great way of connecting with new businesses, learning new skills, etc., etc. So yes, to answer your question, I do think companies should start looking to sort of their 6 month to a year plan ahead, and definitely get some shows booked in there. Even if they're just online, you know, like Zoom networking meetings, just get involved and register for a load of those, because you need to get back into the habit of being that person who's happy to just do the elevator pitch, explain who you are and what you do, and just get connecting again. Yeah,
no, I'm completely with you on that. Munya, just to come over to you on that, I've seen you on quite a few networking events. I know you've gone virtual with quite a lot of the bits and pieces you do. I saw a fantastic presentation from you actually a few weeks ago. What do you make of the whole virtual networking? What do you make of not being able to shake someone's hand right now and having to communicate with them through Zoom?
I think people in my house would say it's a good thing, because I don't go for breakfast events or evening events, so I miss out on the croissant now, which is a shame for me. But you know, it's about embracing the moments that we have. I absolutely love to meet people and shake people's hands and hug people. You know, so I absolutely miss that. I miss being in front of, you know, seeing people deliver in front of kids, and you see the faces on the young people, how excited they become, or how shocked they become when they hear some of the stories that given our people have shared with them. So I can't wait to meet people some more. Actually, I can't wait to get my first pint as well in the pub, but that's not but yeah, I'm a CEO network, and thank you for your comments, Ben. And that's how we are here now, isn't it? Because we are virtually meeting. So I'm learning to use all sorts of virtual services. It is what it is. We embrace it. But we hope that Revolutions might gift us another space to come to visit Business Vision Live next year, maybe, and get more people to give an hour.
That was definitely
I'm sure
a
that
nudge.
could be arranged.
Yeah, that was definitely a nudge to Emily. That I could feel that nudge. Emily, just one more question for you.
I'm sure it could be arranged.
Love that. One more question for you. Were you ever tempted? Were the team ever tempted to go completely virtual with Business Vision Live? Was it a temptation to potentially do that?
It was certainly discussed. It was certainly thought about, and then we were lucky enough to sort of have people approach us to see if they could help us as well. But I think Business Vision Live, in particular, it's so big and there's so many people involved. I think there was just not enough time, because we would obviously want to deliver a great event. We don't want to do it sort of not that good, but it's online kind of thing. We Revolution events. We organise loads of events. So some of our events, which are potentially in the autumn and the spring, some of them might have virtual or hybrid parts to them. So, the silver lining in this whole situation is actually we're looking at the way that we run our events as well. So for those that can be run virtually, or part elements of the event run virtually, then we'll look to do that.
Amazing. Well, I look forward to us further chatting about our digital partnership and where we go next and where we can go with the Kent Construction Expo as well. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Emily, where can people find out more about you and find out more about the Kent Construction Expo?
So I'm on LinkedIn, Emily Taylor, and then my Twitter is Emily Taylor1, businessvisionlive.com and the kentconstructionexpo.com. But if you follow me on socials and stuff, I'm always posting about them and tagging, so you'll find them there.
Amazing. Thank you, Emily. And Munya, what about you? Where can people go and find you and find out a little bit more detail about Give an Hour?
Yes. So just before I give my those details as well, what I should have mentioned about virtual events is there are many organizations who are offering virtual work experience opportunities. So if there are organizations out there, they're thinking they would like to still work with young people, there are opportunities to deliver virtual work experience opportunities. Again, I'm available on LinkedIn as well, Munya Badze, Badze. Or for more details or to register up and down the country, Give an Hour at the Careers and Enterprise Company or the Education People. Just search online for those. On Twitter, it's Munya_BB. I'm not very sure how I use Twitter. I'm not. Twitter is not necessarily my thing, but LinkedIn certainly is.
Amazing. Munya, well, it's been amazing chatting to you. Emily, it's been amazing chatting to you as well. Thank you for doing lunch with me virtually today. And I can't wait to catch up with you both in person as well, hopefully at some point in that near future. Let's keep those fingers crossed. And Munya, enjoy your first pint from next week as well, because it sounds like you're looking forward to that.
Cheers to you guys for that pint as well. Cheers.
No problem. Thank you, Munya. Thank you, Emily. Thank you for coming on. Two brilliant guests there who you can go and find out more about as well via their social links. We'll put them in the comments too. If you're on our YouTube channel for the first time, make sure you hit subscribe. We've got a playlist where you can find out loads of useful tips and tricks to do with your digital marketing strategy. We like to do a point on the show where we give away a 90-second tip. And today, demonstrating said 90-second tip is the lovely Roxana.
Yeah, that was a really great intro. Hi.
Thank you. Oh, see, look, you learned from last time I sung to Roxana and it got a little bit of a thumbs down, but this time I decided not to sing and it gets a thumbs up. Coincidence? Maybe not. Look, maybe. Roxana, I'm in the office.
I know. I'm not jealous. Sorry, I'm going.
I could walk you over to your desk right now if I wanted.
Can you actually? Can you check?
I could do.
I've got one cup that is missing from my kitchen, and I wonder if I left it in the kitchen in the office or not.
Do you know what I did see? And you can pull me up on this. I thought I saw a miniature bottle of vodka on the windowsill directly next to your desk. Just ignore it. It's not there.
It is not vodka, actually. It's gin. I'm not a fan of vodka.
It's gin. Oh, okay, cool.
Gin from Gibson's farm in Wyndham.
Oh, Gibson's. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Sponsoring.
He's just looking for the cup. Pip's gone to look for the cup because he fancies a sip. There we go. Is the cup there?
If you, I'm not sure if you've seen it.
Go on.
But I've got some gym stuff there as well. So I'm planning to have a section where it's going to be a gym.
Oh,
so you can drink and do workout. Oh my god.
Yeah, so we've got Roxana's gin and Pip's taking that home. It's unopened as well. Lovely. I'll have a bit of that. I'll tell you what, Roxana, if you don't nail the 90 seconds, the 90-second tip today, I'm keeping this. It sounds lovely as well. Orange and cacao.
Yeah.
Lovely. Sounds great.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm into rosemary at the moment, and I just every time I have gin and tonic, I'm just going for rosemary and whatever option possible. You should give it a try. Honestly, it's just so flavorful.
That's good.
Flavors.
Well, I would open it and sniff it, but obviously I'm not going to do that because you're still going to want to drink that. By the way, the funny thing is she had a packet of 5 in there before lockdown, and now all of a sudden there's only 1 left. So who knows? She must have had some really tough days in the lead up to lockdown.
Hey, don't judge.
Don't judge. Roxana, today's 90-second tip. Tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, well, so basically my 90-second tip is going to be on how to get some feedback from your audience through Facebook and Twitter advertising. And the reason why I've chosen this one is because there's so many people overlooking this strategy, and it's just such an easy way to find out what your audience actually prefers. And the good thing is that it's actually not expensive at all. So why not?
Give it a go.
So I'm quite excited to show you this, and I hope I'll get it in 90 seconds. I don't think I will get it in 90 seconds, but again, you can't judge because last time when you've done the 90-second tip, it took you like 3 minutes.
I don't know what happened with me the other day. Like I got so confused with my tabs. It was like I was thrown in at the deep end.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Enough, I can edit that video down and make it look like I smashed it. So there we go.
Yeah, you have. It looked really, really good. Yeah, I'm gonna try that for my channel as well. Just like to give it a go.
Yeah, so right, I've got the if you want to go and watch that, by the way, it will be up soon. It's about how to add YouTube subtitles to your videos. It's really easy. So I've got the 90 seconds. Do you want to share a screen with me? And just whilst you're doing so, I don't know if you want to quickly hit on why understanding that data is important. So why is it important to understand what your audience thinks and is saying?
It's more about when we start any social media advertising in general, we're just thinking, okay, we're going to target our audience, but do we know exactly what they want? Do we know what sort of content do they want to receive? And obviously it's a constant research we as marketers as well as business owners, we constantly do to understand our audience, because they will also want more and more and more. So we're there to understand why and when and how and what is it that they want. And I think with this strategy, it's actually is nailing it basically, and it's just straightforward and it's easy, and you get the answers even in a day. So
amazing.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So anyway, before we actually dive in, no. Before we actually dive in, I just want to say so we're going to go through Facebook polls and Twitter polls. And on Facebook, just wanted to say that there are a few limitations when it comes to these polls. One is the chosen objective. So you can't have polls for any sort of objective you go for. And the second limitation is the fact that the poll is available just for video ads as a format. You can't have an image ad format and then use polls. But I'll show you anyway.
Amazing. Right, do you want to share your screen? I've got 130 on. We'll have to get onto our mate Mark. Actually, I had a lead come through the other day, and I was talking whilst you get your screen up. I had a lead come through the other day, and we were talking about social ads. And they were like, I can never get Facebook never get back to me, but you guys probably have a direct line to like Mark Zuckerberg and their office, right? And I was just like, yeah, I mean, yeah, me and Mark, we often before COVID we went for beers and had chats about the platform, and yeah, because we work on Facebook and we're an agency, yeah, we love chatting to Mark Zuckerberg and telling him about his thing. So yeah, so obviously if you want to do social ads, come to us because we've got a direct line to Mark Zuckerberg, by the way.
Yeah, we know people basically who know people.
We know people.
That's how we should advertise ourselves. We know people who know people.
We know people. Digital beans, we know people. Right, let's do your 90-second tip. Let's add the screen. Right, here we go. So I'm going to start the 90 seconds now.
Anyway, so Facebook ads, you go into Facebook Manager account. I've already click the button create campaign. So in your campaign, obviously you go through all your settings, then You select this as well, your audience, your placements, and then in your third section, you're going to choose single image or video. We're going to add a video. I'm just going to go for, which one? I'm going to go for this one because it's just cool like that. And this is where you can add your poll. So add your poll. And that's the section when you can just, which one would you like to choose? And then you can add green or purple. And this is how it's going to look like.
Oh, look at that.
The difference between Facebook and Twitter is that on Facebook, you will be allowed only 2 options. Well, I'll show you on Twitter, you're allowed 4 choices.
Okay.
Obviously, you can add links to URLs to your options. So if you want to green, you can actually send your customers, whoever chose green, people who chose green, they can click on the green option and they go exactly to the green, for example, wigs in our case. And told you.
That's 90 seconds.
Can
Carry
I
on,
get
though.
30 seconds more?
Yeah, carry on.
Okay. So yeah, you can actually drive traffic to your website that you can actually push them to buy your product straight away. So in this way, it's like literally you get traffic to your website. Potentially they will make the sale at the sale, and also you get information, statistics on what their choices, the preferences are. So this is one, and I'm going to go for the Twitter polls.
Can I also just quickly say, while you're loading up Twitter, like this is such a nice engaging way to be able to communicate with your audience through an ad. Like it's getting them involved in the advert, which is obviously amazing. Like how engaging is that?
Yeah. And it's really easy. It's not so at the moment, well, not at the moment, but people on social media. So when it comes to advertising, it's so difficult to get them engaged because our attention span as human beings is just really, really short, and we don't really care much. But if it's like really straightforward and just one click away, then yeah, why not? Then Facebook ads as well as Twitter ads, Facebook poll ads as well as Twitter poll ads, they're really straightforward. So
Amazing.
They're not going to spend too much time on, okay, where should I go now? What should I do next? What's the next step? Step 3.
And the ability to send them straight through to the product as well is intention, right? So that's pretty cool. Yeah, show us Twitter.
Yeah.
Show us Twitter ads.
Twitter. So once you've created your campaign, that obviously you're gonna, if you already do Twitter ads, you will know that this is the section where you create your tweet first, and then you add it to your campaign. So I've already gone to the creative. So I'm gonna create a tweet, and I've gone for, what's your favorite cookie flavor? And then
Flavor, tell me what's your flavor. Sorry, that just came to mind.
of course.
Sorry,
I can spell, by the way. This is just the American way. So this is the section when you make the choices. Obviously, you can put Nutella, you can put Oreo.
Oh, amazing.
Raisin, oatmeal, whatever, peanut butter. And then this is another option you can go for, to choose how many days you would like to run the poll for, or how many hours. So it can be like as many as 5 hours or 3 hours, or it can be a short time, or it can be just a few days, like a whole week.
Completely customizable, right?
Exactly. And once you get this done, let's check 6 days. Then you just click done. And it's gone. This is what it will look like.
That's amazing. Like, this is incredible, because although you're spending money on a campaign, like, and we all talk about what you're going to get out of a campaign when we talk to clients, like, to be able to find out, like, actually what these people you're targeting prefer of your product is just, it opens you up to a whole new world of data, doesn't it? Like, that's that's amazing. And not just data which you're just about to spend money on for future campaigns, but also product inventory, like what you're going to invest in next, like, amazing, absolutely amazing. That's a fantastic tip. Thank you for that, Roxana.
Not a problem.
That's really, really cool. And
I was very happy to share it with everyone, because obviously it's an easy thing to do, but we don't really get to like do it like that often.
No, that is true. I'd never run an ad without a poll now. I like it. It's a really cool idea. Roxana, thank you for coming on. Thank you for doing that. And thank you for the number of tips you've done on Let's Do Lunch as well. Really, really appreciate it. And obviously we'll put this video out as a standalone video in the how to level up your digital marketing strategy playlist, which you can check out now on our channel. So make sure you hit subscribe. Right, Roxana, thank you. Thank you guys for watching. We will be back on Tuesday with another 2 amazing guests. I think I'll be up. Will I be here or at home? Might be here. Take it easy and we'll speak to you guys soon. Bye-bye. Oh, I forgot to get the video ready. Here we go.